Campfire, a place of dreams, reminiscences, pledges, plans, where camaraderie is shared, enjoyed, and delivered. Not uncommonly, love is promised while snuggled close to a campfire, though it might be no more than the brush of a fingertip. A whisper into an ear, a point to a distant star. There's more music in the hoot of a far-off owl while ensconced before a crackling fire. Even the melody of a querulous coyote is more unmistakable when shared by a campfire. My experience with campfires began at an early age, sharing moments with a brother, a mother, a father, a friend. Growing a tad older, I made my own reasons for campfires, warming fires to hold off the chill of a rainy evening, to ward off all the vicious creatures, wolves, lions, bears, that must be circling my fitful little fire during the wee hours of a frightening night. My Celtic ancestors no doubt embraced fire in the same manner of other scattered tribespeople around the globe by stumbling onto a lightning-caused wildfire. Snuggling close amid a cold snap, they kept it burning by adding embers and limbs and fallen trees until heat wave and hunger drove them forth. No doubt my forefathers and mothers discovered roasted meat in the same manner. Parboiled steaks on the hoof, felled and scorched by wildfire until pleasingly tasty. Add a little salt, gargle barley malt between bites, try to sneak a look beneath the cook's lambskin loincloth. Can't get no better than this. First came the campfire, then as opportunity presented came the parboiled steaks. Then a light bulb went off in an especially astute cook's cranium, and she placed a few coals in a clay pot and packed fire to the slain mammoth instead of the other way around. With fire thus portable, an entirely new way of life developed. Created fire began by whirling a pointed stick against dry wood, flint and steel, sulfur matches. Then Roland Erectus appeared with a package of book matches and an undeniable urge to go camping. As it turned out, Roland Erectus' first attempt at campfire cooking was less grits and hominy than it was grit and humility. Still, an Oscar Mayer wiener charcoaled on a spit over an open campfire, even with a little scattered sand and ashes for seasoning, played better on the palate than delicacies from the corner of Main and Broadway. Then I really went uptown by throwing a can of Nally's extra hot chili con carne in my knapsack. By opening the can with my Barlow knife and whittling a spoon from a maple limb while the chili burbled, I learned the ambrosial excellence of the finest uptown cuisine in as private a dining room as a boy with wanderlust could ever wish. Or so I thought. She didn't tempt me with taste, but she sure as hell kept me with condiments. Not just any condiments, understand. Nope, I didn't sell out cheap. Instead, my lady demonstrated wholesale improvement on my wilderness menu. By then, I was clear up to flapjacks and ham. I even demonstrated titanic adaptability by sometimes proudly introducing an egg into the camp scene. Jane scoffed at what I deemed my enlightened versatility. The following half a dozen scenes might illustrate why. She didn't just crack a few cackleberries and pour up an anybody-could-make omelet. Instead, hers was a bona fide gourmet garden variety that would drive a Richville chef green with envy. I could only watch in bemused silence, broken often by exclamations of delight from our admiring guests. Jane took over my wilderness cooking just when I was growing confident enough to baste grit-filled liver and onions to masterpiece, whip up a faultless panful of powdered mashed potatoes, and boil a can of cowboy coffee to aromatic perfection. She brought menu diversity to our campfire dining, whereas my standard was undeniably, well, predictable. And along the way, she utterly devastated my own high opinion of culinary self. Fortunately, Jane found me useful in other ways. She told me that I brought dishwashing to a high art, and after extensive pedagogical tutelage, my chief cook deemed me suitably disciplined for participating in and inevitably running the camp wood supply program. But hands off her cooking fire and cooking implements. Don't bother with setting the table either. She'd do her own table presentations, thank you. She planned and served hors d'oeuvres, sometimes platters filled with Rocky Mountain oysters, depending on our hunter's success. She served delectable desserts, cakes, and pies. Here's a pineapple upside-down cake just ready to come out of her Dutch oven. Though my psyche was damaged by her tyrannical usurpation of my campfire duties, I quickly got over it because the little woman allowed me to dine from the same finger-licking pot she offered to everyone else. And that included shish kebab. Not normally table fare for campfire dining, right? Yet why not? All it takes is a little prior planning and adaptive ingenuity. For example, bamboo sticks normally utilized for household shish kebabs won't cut it for open campfire cooking, but lengths of brazing rod used in most welding shops work great. As far as the various chunks utilized for the shish kebab, that's personal choice and a willingness to carry them in your food packages. But one does that anyway. We always serve salads with every supper meal, so why not shish kebabs? Besides, the looks of exquisite delight on our guests' faces was worth the effort, not to mention that of the outfitter, too. Cornish game hens, or grouse in season. Sometimes the sight of game hens propped up around a fire so titillated one or two of our guests that they'd ask if it was all right if they cooked their own. Of course, Jane would say, just be aware that from time to time I'll have to tend potatoes or casserole, okay? They happily turned their hen, basted it, scorched it, sometimes burned it, and loved every minute. Stir fry. Why not? Easier than shish kebabs and tastier in this outdoors environment than any Oriental restaurant could supply. And by the way, the griddle used for this stir fry is an aluminum Maytag washing machine lid, 16 inches square with a lip on it. The lid could not possibly be better designed for campfire cooking. Should you find one of these and don't want it, remember me. I'd be happy to stockpile it against possible future need. Boneless pork rib. It's an easy entree and a tasty one. I often wondered why I never thought about it back in the days before Jane took over. Has something to do with brains, maybe. But the most stunning coup of all was when Jane served lobster. Lobster? Cooked over a wilderness campfire? Surely you jest. See 'em and weep. That's what I did when I returned all dusty and weary from guiding guests on a long passage to view the Chinese wall. While I jerked saddles and brushed and turned loose our tired horses, Jane handed each lady guest a tequila sunrise and made each male guest a cold beer. Then, after a suitable period for toiletry and coquetry, she set out steaks and lobsters to broil, then broke out a boxed wine. It was some days later before any of our guests remembered that I also belonged to this outfit. Eventually, I'll do a special on Jane's Dutch oven cooking. If you'd like to see and hear it, it'd be nice if you were to email me to nag me about doing it soonest. That email address is roland@rolandcheek.com. And if you enjoy this Campfire Culture blog, we hope you'll tell all your friends. Tell them to type or paste rolandcheek.com into their address bar. You can also listen to Roland's past radio programs and visit his bookstore, where there's a baker's dozen of the guy's books for sale at discount prices. Thanks for looking and listening.